I think that every one of you has, at one point in your life, seen a beaver swimming along in the river, carrying a twig to a beaver dam or somewhere. And most of you probably just went, oh, hey, that's a cute little forest creature there. But there's a lot more beavers than most of you realize. You see, in order to know about beavers, you must understand their characteristics, what they spend their time doing, and how they impact the environment. And this brings me to my first point, the beaver's characteristics. Beavers belong to the order Rodentia. The squirrel group is their suborder, which also includes prairie dogs, squirrels, and rats. Beavers have two large incisor teeth that grow continuously. According to Beaver's Dam Builders by Andre Lamas, they can grow up to 2 inches long, but they wear down quite fast from all the chewing that they do. A beaver's tail is flat and wide, and it is usually about 6 inches wide and 12 to 18 inches long, according to The Beaver by Geraldine Dental. Now, there are only 2 species of beavers that exist today, the European beaver and the American beaver. Now, the only difference between them is that the American beaver is a little bit smaller and has a little bit darker fur. Now, beavers are usually about 45 pounds, but can grow up to 65 pounds. Now, this brings me to my next point, what beavers spend their time doing. For the most part, all beavers do is spend their time chewing on trees and building their dams. They cut down the trees by chewing around their bases, and they build dams and dikes. Most of the beaver dams are only about 50 feet long, but according to Busy Beavers by M. Barbara Brownell, one of the longest beaver dams found was over 650 feet long. Now, beavers also spend a lot of time on the beaver lodges. When they build the beaver lodge, they round it over the top like an igloo, and they have this hollow in the middle, and they have an entrance on both sides that they have to get into by swimming under the water. According to The Beaver by Hope Ryden, beavers insulate their beaver lodges with grass and wood shavings. The last point that I have is if beavers help the environment. This is a controversial topic as beavers do both positive and negative things to the environment. Yes, beavers can help the environment because sometimes when they build dams, this limits the amount of water that flows over, and this traps or helps prevent erosion. When the sand and silt flow down the river, they hit the beaver dam and they settle there. This makes the soil around this area very fertile. On the other hand, beavers do not help the environment because they can do substantial amount of damage to forests and wooded areas. For one beaver to satisfy his tree chewing habits for 1 year, it can chew down about 100 trees. And usually beavers aren't alone. They usually live in groups of about 6. So when you have 600 trees lost in 1 year, after a few decades, that can be very devastating. Now, this is a picture of 2 beavers that are chewing down a tree. Now that you know about the beaver's characteristics, what they spend their time doing, and how they help the environment, you might be able to tell yourself, hey, that's more than just a cute little forest creature. That's a beaver.